Some more terrifying news for everybody. President Donald Trump is increasingly venting frustration to his national security team about the U.S. strategy in Afghanistan and showing renewed interest in a proposal by Blackwater founder Erik Prince to privatize the war, current and former senior administration officials said. Prince's idea, which first surfaced last year during the president's Afghanistan strategy review, envisions replacing troops with private military contractors who would work for a special U.S. envoy for the war who would report directly to the president. It has raised ethical and security concerns among senior military officials, key lawmakers, and members of Trump's national security team. A year after Trump's strategy announcement, his advisors are worried his impatience with the Afghanistan conflict will cause him to seriously consider proposals like Prince's or abruptly order a complete U.S. withdrawal, officials said. First of all, can we note for the record that this article puts on par, on the same level, privatizing a war that we've already been at for 17 fucking years and pulling out of that war? That's equal in its craziness. Like, he might do something crazy like stop the war that we've been in for 17 years for no goddamn reason. I mean, he might do that, or he might privatize it. That also is concerning. Those things are on opposite ends of the spectrum. One of those things is perfectly reasonable and the correct thing to do, morally and fiscally and otherwise. And one of those things is insanity. So for those of you who don't know, you should really check out Jeremy Scahill's book, Blackwater, because he did some great investigative reporting on this. Blackwater is basically a mercenary army that has been in Iraq. Now, there were giant scandals because they massacred civilians and they, it's easier for them to get away with that because they don't have to abide by the same rules of war to the extent that there are any, because they're a mercenary army and they're not the U.S. Army, so they're not from a state, they're a private army. So there were questions as to the legality and how do you go about punishing them if/when they do something wrong. But the scariest part of Blackwater is that they have deep roots in Christian fundamentalism. So it's really like a Christian fundamentalist mercenary army. And what you have is because of legal troubles and whatnot, they changed their name a bunch of times. It was Blackwater, and then it was like Z or some shit, XI, and then it was something else. But Trump is listening to this guy. By the way, I think Betsy DeVos, his Secretary of Education, is related to Erik Prince. And this is something that's on the table from like, how about we totally privatize the war in Afghanistan? Well, get out of the war in Afghanistan is the first thing, because Trump said it himself on his Twitter feed. It was nonstop. What are we doing? It's so stupid to be there. Why are we there? It makes no fucking sense. Why are we there? Now all of a sudden it's, let's stay there, which he already announced recently. And also, maybe totally privatize the war. So a private mercenary army would be run by Donald frickin' Trump, and the commanders in charge of this army are Christian fundamentalists. What could go wrong? Give a total lunatic madman a private mercenary army that reports directly to him. What the fuck do you think is going to happen? We'll win. What is victory? What does victory even mean? What does it even mean? We've been there for 17 fucking years. They said, it's to get Osama bin Laden. Bitch, he been dead. What are we doing? It's because we got to get the remnants of Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. Mission accomplished. There's fewer than 100 Al-Qaeda members in Afghanistan. That's according to our own numbers. Well, now, but ISIS, God, it never ends. They keep moving the goalposts, and by the way, it creates more terrorists the longer we stay there. So, by the way, just take note here. It's in the same week that we get the news, the war in Iraq, they announced that we're basically staying there forever. Like, we need to stay there to stabilize the region. What the fuck does that mean? So when there are terrorists there, we have to stay there to fight the terrorists. Duh. When there aren't terrorists there, we have to stay there to stabilize the region to make sure the terrorists don't come back. So then you never want to leave. That's what that means. So the same week we learn we're staying in Afghanistan forever, and now we learn, Trump, his aides are worried that he might say, totally privatize the Afghanistan war now. It's almost like we are living in a broken empire. It's not almost like that. It 100% is like that.